Welcome back to the Streamers of Consciousness podcast. And this is an incredibly special one for me because the person who I'm talking to today was one of the first people to reach out to me when I lost my job and offer me help. And it was absolutely no benefit to him whatsoever. So I'm excited to talk to Swipzz. He's one of my favorite content creators, a very, very good friend, and one of the few people in the streaming world that I've met in real life. And he's just as wonderful in real life as he is in this interview. We're going to talk about everything from how Swipzz got into gaming through to how he lost his job and started content creating full time. There's many similarities between my story and his. So I hope you enjoy this episode. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. If there's any creators that you want me to interview that I haven't interviewed yet, let me know down in the comments and I will add them onto the list. But for now, here is Swipzz. Swipzz, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. Appreciate you. It's a bit of a weird one because we know each other. We've actually met in real life. We've been talking for quite a long time. In fact, we have like a little morning call since we're both unemployed. But I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully we'll get to talk about some of the stuff that we talk about on our morning calls on today. But before we get into your meteoric rise over the past months, the first thing I'll do with all of my guests is I'll take them back to when they were little children and they first started getting into gaming. So tell me, what was the first gaming experience you can remember? Where did you first get into gaming?
I tell you what, it's actually a good one. Sonic,
Right.
classic game. Sega came before SNES. Did it? Yeah, it did. So Sega for me. So my uncle's got a Sega Mega Drive.
Right.
We all just used to sit there and play it. So like I've got Sonic tattoos on this arm because of it. So like that's why I've got a video game sleeve. It's like my childhood games. I just used to love sitting there playing Sonic with them. Obviously, as I got older, like I have an older brother. I used to play a lot of like Need for Speed and Need for Speed Underground, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
At my dad's, he had the SNES. So I used to play like Donkey Kong and all that kind of stuff and Mario there. Nice. I really wish he had that now so I could collect it. But yeah, that's kind of where my love and passion came from, them games as a kid. Like, I think it wasn't called Street Fighter. There was like a fighter game that was on Sega and I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. I used to play that so much. I loved it. I just absolutely loved it. I just had
like a Street Fighter style game.
Yeah, it was kind of like a Street Fighter, but it was so crappy. It was so crappy, but it was so great in the time.
Well, I feel like Sonic all those games at that time were a bit crappy. Like graphically, of course, that's what they were, right?
But for nostalgia, it hits so hard. So like on my Nintendo Switch, I think it's behind my PC. I still got like the OG versions of Sonic on like the Switch. Yeah. I'll sit there and play it sometimes. It's not the same because you're not getting the same feel like you would do off an OG Sega controller. Yeah. But you still get the feel of kind of nostalgia. Like I used to bash this out as a kid. The only time I'd shut up is when I was on like that, and then I got a bit older. I think the Game Boy era. So like I remember the grey Game Boy. Not everybody else does.
So I feel like you're too young to remember.
No, I remember that era. I love that era. And then I went onto the Game Boy Color when they started coming out. Yeah. The little screens that you had to put on top so you could see in the dark. Oh, man, you were screwed without one of them. They were just peak at that time. And then kind of like Game Boy Advance. So I went through all the Game Boy era as well. So I love like the OG Pokemon. Like kind of probably up to like third gen, I'd probably say, is kind of acceptable for me, and then after that, it just started not getting fun.
You must have been well happy when the Switch came out then, because I feel like there was a bit of a gap in kind of Nintendo stuff between the old school Game Boy stuff, and then nothing really happened, and then the Switch came out, and it's been like a big Nintendo resurgence over the past 4 or 5 years or something.
One of the Christmases, so when I first started dating Emma, what actually happened was she got me a Nintendo Switch with that Pokemon at that time. So I think it was Pokemon Go or Pokemon something. I've got it somewhere around. It came out with that Pokemon, and that was like the new revolutionary Pokemon where you could kind of like swing it around and throw the ball at it. It was amazing. I was so hungover. But I was so grateful. I was like, holy crap, she just bought me that, and it's amazing. So like I was like a child on Christmas. Like that's the last time I remember being like stupidly excited over something so small but so thoughtful at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, of something of like my childhood, because like Nintendo Wii didn't really bring anything out that was cool for Pokemon. Like I know Nintendo Wii, for example, as like tennis and stuff like that, Wii tennis.
Yeah.
You know, all that kind of stuff. I don't really know it for anything else.
I feel like the Nintendo Wii was a good way to trick yourself into thinking you could lose weight by playing video games.
I used to sit there on the couch just swaying the controller like that.
I think I stood on one of those Wii Fit boards once, and I was a bit heavier at the time, and it told me I was like fat, and I was like, no, not for me. This is not the video game for me. I'll leave it, I think. So you started off on the kind of Sega and stuff, and worked your way through Sonics, and you played on the SNES. And is there ever been a point where you stopped playing video games, where you felt like it was there's that video going around recently about the guy saying, if you're over 30 and you're still playing video games,
that guy's a melt. Genuine melt. Sort your head out, mate. Get a life.
Has there ever been a point where you've taken a break from it, or you stopped, or?
Yeah, but it was for a genuine reason. It was my little one was born. It was COVID. My little one was born. I just didn't have the time. I genuinely did not have the time. You know how crazy the sleep schedules can get with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I took probably about 6 months to a year out of gaming completely because I just didn't have time. By the time it hit 8, 9 o'clock at night when we're putting a little into bed, well, it wasn't even like the routine I've got now. The routine I've got now is mega. It was kind of, she'd just get up at any different points, screaming, crying, and it could last for 3 hours. My little one was a nightmare when she was younger. So I just didn't have the time because I was too tired. And by the time I'd get to sleep, I've got to get up, I've got to go work, I've got to rinse and repeat. So about the 1 year mark, so I took like probably about a year off gaming. And then I started picking up gaming again on the Nintendo Switch. I started playing Minecraft Dungeons.
Right.
Genuinely, that's what I started playing. Such a class little game just to kind of mess about on. You can pick it up, you can play it. Right, I'm done. Put it down. Kind of jobs are good. And so I played that for quite some time. I really enjoyed it, and it really got me back into gaming. For me, at the moment, the gaming scene, if you've been watching me, or you know, as of recent, well, you know anyway, Charm, is that the Resident Evil and horror side. I never liked that and never cared for it. Genuinely enjoying it at the moment. I am genuinely enjoying that. Getting scared the crap out of at night. I don't know what it is, but it's quite funny.
See, that's what I struggle with the horror games. Although when I did come into your stream and I didn't know what you were playing, but I was looking. I was like, wow, the artwork on this is phenomenal, and it was a Resident Evil game. I was like, I didn't know what I thought Resident Evil games were. I think I just had in my head an opinion of them. Everyone wants you to play horror games, but no one cares about the stress and trauma that you have to go through playing.
No,
I do not cope well with horror games at all.
For me, like, you know how my stream is, it's interactive, so people can scare the crap out of me. So you'll sit there just going through a quiet part and everything's fine, and then somebody will just air horn you or something like that, and it's worse. So it's got quite a lot of comedy value behind it. Just for, I do enjoy doing it. It has been quite a lot of fun, and then that side of it on top of it has kind of really made it even funnier than what it is. So that side for me, I'm genuinely enjoying at the moment. And then I'm looking around, just kind of, there's no games at the moment that are screaming and shouting like, God, I need to play this. I need to stop what I'm doing and play this game. It's amazing. There just isn't, and it's quite unfortunate.
Yeah. So you obviously played games as a kid. You took a little bit of break when your kid was born. But what was the point where? I mean, I had a big long break. I mean, you know, probably a decade, if not longer, of not playing games. Like I think I said to you before, the last console I had before the PS5 that I bought on release was probably a PS2, maybe a PS3. It was old. I'm old, and the last console I had was old. But never in my head, and this is maybe a generational thing. It changes a little bit now. I think. Did I think, oh, playing video games is, you know, potential career option? Is anything other than just something you do to pass time or to waste time? For me as a kid, it was something that you did in the car on long journeys. It was something that you did on an airplane, maybe on a long journey. What was the point where you thought, where you started to discover that people were playing video games for a living? Was there a point where you went, oh, hang on, people are doing this full time?
Yeah. The best example I'm going to give you is NGT Zombies.
Yeah.
Some people will know who they are. Some people won't. If you're part of the zombie community, you'll definitely know. If you're an OG, you will definitely know. They are the OG zombie guys, and I'm talking OG. They're the kind of guys that brought out the actual zombie brand. A lot of the zombies community know them. They're just a really nice pair of guys. I think it's one Canadian guy and one British guy. It was Spider and Hyper. And then that's kind of where I realized, I was like, oh my God, I can play zombies on PC. You know, you can make a career out of it. They had a few million on YouTube. I don't think they really do it anymore. That's kind of the point where I realized that, oh, you can actually do that. C-Nanners as well. Don't know if you've ever watched him. He's a very chatty and funny and laughy kind of guy. So he's got like this weird giggle and it's infectious. It's an infectious giggle. And he's just so funny. I'll send you a video later so you can look at him. He just screams energy. That's what he does. And that's kind of the point where I realized, okay, if I want to kind of do any sort of content or, you know, do something like that one day, this is kind of what I'd want to go down. Is kind of just laughter and having fun, not taking it too serious. You know, for a fact, I do not take it serious. I don't think you should. If you take it serious, you're going to be miserable. You're going to treat it like a job that you hate. Yesterday, I was dressed in a pizza costume with shades on, just absolutely bopping my head to God knows what songs. Like I've got a banging playlist now because of my subs yesterday. Yeah. I was just going all for it, and you know what? I should have come off at 3:00, but I didn't come off until like 4:30, 4:45, because I was just having such a genuine good time and such a laugh that it was just worth it.
So when did you start streaming? When was the first stream?
When did I start? Yeah. So I attempted to stream 3 times.
Right.
The first time I did it on my Xbox. Yeah. I had a couple of people that would follow me and so forth, but it wasn't really that successful. Yeah. So I binned it off.
And was this on Twitch you were streaming?
Yeah, this was years ago though. We're talking about 8-9 years ago. The second time I did it on Mixer. And I did that for about 2 to 3 months, and then I binned it off. I'm impatient. That's my problem. I'm impatient. Now, over the years, I've learned that patience. And then the third attempt is this attempt, really. Yeah. I started out with my Xbox, a crappy capture card, £20 capture card. I've still got it. It's a banging little capture. I say it's crappy, but it's 1080p for 20 quid. What do you want? And I've got a laptop that I nicked from my old job. So if he ever sees this, bollocks to ya. He wasn't a nice person. So that laptop could only do one of 2 things. It could only either use OBS or use web browser. You could not do both at the same time. That's how bad this laptop was. But it worked for the stream, so I started streaming. I got in with a gaming group. It was just a bunch of streamers that would all kind of follow each other and all that kind of stuff. And it just doesn't work that way. It doesn't, especially on Twitch or any sort of platform. Yes, have streamer mates and make them friends, but don't make groups where you are promising to watch each other, because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It didn't work. It's not going to work. So after a while, that group kind of fell apart. I kind of fell out of that group because I just didn't see any point and did my own thing for a good year, I'd say, in Twitch. What I used to do was I used to carry people on Apex. So I was really good on it on console. I used to just carry my community, have a laugh. I'd do the odd and even weird stream in between it. And I just got tired and bored of doing it, so I stopped doing it. And it tanked my viewership. Yeah. It tanked it. During the meantime, I was posting on TikTok anyway. And then I kind of noticed one day, oh, I can go live on TikTok. Holy crap, what's this all about? So that's where I got into the whole gaming side of TikTok pretty much by accident, because I already had 1,000 followers. I already hit that criteria. Yeah. So I was like, suck it, let's go on here. Let's kind of see what the crack is, realistically. Let's see what's going on. And from there, now it's been about a year, 2 months, I'd say, give or take. Oh, no, actually, a bit longer now. It'd be about a year and a half, I'd say, that I've been on TikTok pretty much, I'd say, exclusive. I do a bit of Twitch once in a while when I can be mithered. But yeah, there's been a lot of growth. I have met a lot of good people. I've met a lot of bad people, but I've met a lot of good people. I genuinely enjoy it. It's a really good. So there's upsides and downsides to the platform, as you know. Yeah. The upsides are the exposure. You get a crazy amount of exposure in comparison to everywhere else, which you do. There's no doubt about it. The downsides, and that's talking real as a content creator actually making money on the platform, is they take so much of your money. They take they tell everyone that it's 50-50, it's blah, blah, blah. It's not. They've got tricky ways. They take more like 60-65%. So I did very, very well yesterday. If I told you, I'll tell you actually. So in cash value yesterday, I got gifted about £180. Out of that £180, I got 65.
Yeah.
Big difference. So the rest of that's gone to TikTok. That's not gone to me. But then I also appreciate that there's such a platform out there where I can do so well, and there is a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
On that side of things. So it really does swing in roundabouts.
Yeah,
I'd say with this, and then how it is at the moment. We're trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work, because TikTok is such a fast platform. Things change on a daily. So I know 2 things that are on the algorithm right now. Yeah. I'm straight on. I'm going to be trying something new today, as an example.
So how do you go about finding these new things that you think are going to work? Like what's your process of going, I'm going to try this, or I'm going to try that, or I think this might work? Or because we speak often, and you were one of the first people when I lost my job. I did a video about it, and you were one of the first people to reach out to me and go, "Hey, I'm here to support you. Here's what you." I think you sat me down and said, "Right, this is what you need to go and do," and gave me a list of things. Go and do this, and this today. And I think we've basically spoke pretty much every day since then. So that was massively appreciated, because I think I was like sub 10k followers at the point. That point, I think you were well over 20k at that point. You've been streaming for a good year or so on TikTok. How had you gone through this process of figuring out what you needed to be doing next, or where you needed to be focusing, or how to get yourself in front of more people on TikTok?
So it was a mixture. It was a mixture between trial and error, because that's how it works. I feel like listening to your community, extremely bloody important. I had a stupidly successful stream yesterday, and that was because of one of my community members saying, "You know what? I've got a daft idea. Do you want to try it? I'll buy you a pizza costume. You make a daft video. Let's see what it does." Video did like 25k, I think. I'm pretty happy with that. It was a done video. It took me 5 minutes to make, 10 minutes to edit, pushed it out, and it was a lit stream. I hate using that word, but it was a really good stream. It was a really good idea. I've got another idea or two that's coming, but also, it's not just that, not just listening to the community. It's actually paying attention to what other content creators are doing and really kind of evaluating yourself. I know for a fact I need to bring more value to my stream. I need to make it funnier. Yesterday, I went all in on value. You got full value out of me yesterday. It was an absolute hype. It was hilarious. It was so funny yesterday. It was good. That was me at my best. I can do better. I always think I can do better, but it was pushing myself, evaluating me, kind of seeing what I can do, and also looking at other streamers and see what they do better than you do. So, when you're sat there, let's say you're sat there at 100 viewers and they're sat there at 200. Why? Why is that person sat there at 200? What are they doing that I'm not doing? Am I not interacting enough? Am I not funny enough? Am I not keeping the conversation flowing enough? Am I spending too much time talking to the community and not actually focusing on the game? You've got to kind of look at all of that and see what works and what doesn't. Why does the algorithm hate me? Does it hate the game that I'm playing? Because that's a fact. We sit there sometimes and we can sit there and our viewership's not what it normally is, and we're like, why is it hate us? The one thing that I got told from TikTok is the other day, as a cold hard fact, is that the people that are sat on 200 views on the videos, it's not because you're putting out too many videos, blah blah blah. It's a cold hard fact of your videos are shit. That's what they said to me. They said, you sat at 200, you're not being shadow banned, your videos are shit. That's why they're sat there. They're not getting likes, comments, shares. They're not getting the engagement that they should get. Do better. And then, I've been kind of doing the teaching bits behind the scenes. And I've been telling people that, and I'm saying, I'm not being horrible to you, but this is what I was told. You want more views on your videos, make better videos, make them more engaging, more fun. Come straight in with a hook. Don't mess about. You're perfect for it. You're absolutely spot on for it. I don't know why you don't get a crazy amount of views. You have the flow. You keep going with it. He's blushing. He has the flow. He knows exactly how to do it. So Charm's a perfect example of it. That's where I fail a little bit. I'm trying to improve that. So I look at people like Charm as an example to kind of help with that growth. I know I can put out specific videos and they will do really well. My pizza videos always do daft. Charm's done some, they do daft. I'm looking at the day in the life content. I've already filmed the 30-day update of my content for today. So it's that kind of stuff. I went and got my hair cut the other day. I don't know what the views are on it, but it got a couple of K. People loved it. Absolutely loved it. A bit of kind of day in life. So, you know, I think adding a bit of personality to it as well is something that really helps. But yeah, really taking in what people say around you, like community members. You don't have to take everything word for word.
Yeah. I think you got that balance, isn't it, between... We've had this conversation before, and I've just done a couple of videos on, you know, I've changed up what I'm doing quite a lot because I felt like I'd fallen into something that I wasn't enjoying, and I was doing it for the wrong reasons. Right, I was streaming certain games for the wrong reasons. I was streaming certain things for the wrong reasons. I'd fallen into this trap, and I think one of the things that we've been in very similar situations, and we'll talk about this in a second. When I lost my job, was to go, right, I need to put everything I can into this, and when you see success in certain things, you fall into the trap of going, right, I need to do that all the time and really niche yourself down into a specific thing, which is fine if that's what you want to do, but also, like you said, there's a risk that it becomes this thing that you had a real passion for becomes this horrible situation where you go, oh, I'm trapped doing this as much as I was trapped doing my other job. But one of the things I like about what you just said is that you are constantly reviewing yourself and your own performance, and saying, well, how can I improve? It's a really nice thing, because I think there's so many streamers out there, so many people out there who are constantly looking outwards going, I'm better than this person, or I'm better than that person, and the algorithm doesn't like me but it likes them, and I'm shadow banned, and all these things, instead of going, number one, taking responsibility for the things that you can control, and number two, trusting the process. I know that's a bit cliched, but I'm, certainly recently I've been in that position where I've got to trust the process. Am I confident that what I'm producing is good? Am I confident that I am getting better every day? Am I confident that I am offering real value to my community? If you believe that what you're doing is that, and you're getting better every day, and you're adding value, and your content is good, then sometimes you just gotta keep producing, keep pushing forward, right? You've just got to keep going and trust that good will come out on top. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The one thing I do say, and I say this to a lot of people, is that the way that I put the videos across and put the content across is that if I wouldn't watch myself, I don't fucking expect anyone else to either. I just don't. It's a general expectation. If I would not watch me on a video or on something else or on live stream, I don't expect anybody else to. So have that expectation sat there of, if you wouldn't watch yourself and you wouldn't enjoy it, don't expect anybody else to.
Yeah, exactly. And how important, because you talked a lot about you reviewing yourself. Yeah. And I've mentioned earlier that I think almost every day, certainly in the weekdays, because we're doing this full time, we have some kind of call or conversation each morning talking about, what we're doing for the day, what's worked, what hasn't, how yesterday went, all of those things. How important do you think it is to have other people, striving to achieve the same thing, who are willing to openly criticize each other for the good of their content? Like, how important is it to have those other people that you can lean on?
Criticize is an understatement, by the way. I think it's extremely important. The reason behind it is that I'll give you an example. You two were telling me last week my videos are shit when it comes down to one or two things. And I went away and I was like, you know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'd rather you tell me. I'd rather somebody be honest and tell me this is shit or this doesn't work and this is why. So I can improve myself. I feel like
we were definitely nicer than that, by the way.
Yeah. I definitely don't. But so I'd rather take it. It's constructive criticism. That's what it is. They are, if somebody's telling you that, they're not telling you to hurt your feelings. They're telling you because they want you to succeed. They want you to strive. The one thing that I've kind of learned at the moment especially from streaming, is I don't compare myself to other people anymore. Yeah. Because you hate yourself. You hate yourself and you think, I'm bad, I'm terrible, I'm this, because I'm comparing myself to somebody that's got a million followers, or he's got 1,000 people or she's got 1,000 people in the room, and they might not be better at one or two things than what you are, But if you do it, you are literally going to tank yourself.
Yeah.
The comparison doesn't need to be there. Just be you and just do better. Within the sense of look at yourself and look what you can do.
And I think sometimes it's easy to forget how far you've come, like because you're constantly looking at this. I'm trying to get to this place, or even sometimes if you're not 100% sure where you're trying to get to, you just like you've got to grow. You've got to get in front of more people. Sometimes you don't look back and go, "Oh Jesus, look how far I've come." So for me, it was when I lost my job in February, I wasn't even at 10k followers. And the aim was to get to there. And I know for you, when we first, just before we first started talking, I'd seen a video from you to say that you had reached 20,000 followers at kind of Christmas end of last year.
Yeah.
And that was a big milestone for you. And I know for both of us, it's like I've gone from like 7 or 8k at the beginning of this year, maybe even less, to 17k. And you've gone from 20 to like over 30, both in fairly like short periods of time. Through content production, through grind, through really pushing it. But I know for you, for example, I don't feel like you have celebrated 30k as much as you celebrated 20, because you're so focused on. I know you're
mine's
focused
50.
on 35k, 40k, 50k,
yeah, mine's
whatever
50.
that is.
Yeah, so the next kind of celebration's 50k. I've said, so my actual goal and aim and achievement last year was 5k.
Yeah.
Honestly, so the whole of last year, I started on 1k, so my actual goal was 5k, and then I smashed that times 4. So I was like, amazing, sick. So I thought this year, I'm not going to settle for kind of 5k again. I've already done it anyway, but I was like 50k this year. Bro wants 50k. Let's do it. Let's hit it. And then that's kind of where we'll celebrate. We'll either do a crazy video out of it, or we'll do some sort of mad stream. We'll do something around it as a celebration. Because you know just as much as you do, I appreciate my community. I appreciate my lot. They come in and talk to me about everything. I know everything about my lot. My regulars I speak to, on a day-to-day basis, or at least a couple of times a week. So I know exactly what's going on. And I'll celebrate that kind of hitting that milestone with them. The one thing I would say is that as a streamer or a content creator, the one thing that if you've gone from smaller to big, the one thing kind of your community might not want is you becoming a bigger streamer, because they feel like you'll pay less attention to them because it's going off so much. So kind of make that clear and concise, because people will do stuff by accident. They won't intentionally do it to try and mess it up for you. They will do, and they won't intentionally mean to do it, but they will do it. So kind of give that insight, of listen, if I get huge, you're just going with me. There's no difference there. I'm still going to speak to you. I'm still going to pay attention to you. Yeah. Yes, it might not be on the same level that it is now, but I'm still there. I'm still around. There's going to be no difference, because I've seen it quite a lot. I see it in quite a lot of people's, communities. And that is a thing. I've heard people say, I don't want you to become a big streamer because you don't pay any attention to me. And it's not right. Exactly.
Yeah. I think the people that you want are the people who want to see you grow. But it's an interesting thing, isn't it? And I think this is a challenge for lots of smaller streamers, or people who, everyone starts out small, is you have this, say when you're just starting out, you might create a community of like 10, 15, 20 core people, whatever that might be, who are just in there all the time. You're chatting to them. You can respond to every message. You get to know their dog's name, their cat's name, their mum's name, their dad's name, etc., etc. And then as you start to grow, you get more people in, and you try to engage with the community as much as possible. But there is still this odd relationship of, this is your, certainly now this is your full-time job. This is something that you're trying to push forward. It's something that you have to grow. How do you deal with that relationship where it's like, there's always going to be some people that maybe you become more friendly with and you have personal relationships with, but then there's I guess there's a wider community of people where they feel like they have a relationship with you, but from your point of view, they're someone who's just in chat sometimes. They're a reviewer. How do you deal with that boundary that you have to set as a an entertainer or a streamer, where people feel like they have this relationship with you that isn't necessarily reciprocated? Yeah, do you know what I mean?
The way that I put it is that I treat everyone as an equal. Everybody's an equal in my stream. Doesn't matter if, you know, you've come in and you've been around for a week or you've been around for a year. I will still speak to you. I'd treat you kind of the same respect as what I get. When it comes down to joining like my community Discord, that kind of stuff, yes, I will be in there speaking. If I want to sit in a video call and talk to you, I'll do that. If I don't, I ain't doing it. It is as simple as my community understand that.
Yeah.
I did a Discord call yesterday just out of the blue, randomly, just at everyone in VC, hop in. About 10, 15 people jumped in. We all just chatting crap really.
Yeah.
For a good 20 minutes, half an hour before the horror stream that I did last night. And it was just a bit of a catch up. And I will do that. I'll treat everyone the same. I was ripping them. I was ripping them in the Discord because they're like friends. They're like pals. So I'll treat them like friends. I'll have a genuine, normal conversation with them, and I'll just treat them as they are. They're just people. I ain't anything special. Okay, I've got 30K on TikTok, so what? I ain't nothing special. I ain't magnificent. I'm just another person that's trying to be out there, entertain. There's millions of other people like me. So I just treat everybody with kind of the same respect, give them the same boundaries of, we can have this chat, we can have this laugh. Please understand, doesn't matter if you've just given me $2,000 last month or you've given me 2p.
Yeah.
You take the piss, you're gone.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, you take the piss, you're gone. I will set that boundary of, I want to be fun, fair. I want you to have a laugh and join a community where everybody's just kind of the same, they chill, they make some friends. There's quite a lot of people that make friends within my community. There's even bloody relationships. But yeah, so there's even, and it's nice to kind of hear that it is, on some occasions anyway. But yeah, it's really, really nice in that sense. So, with me, everyone has that expectation of, I'm there, I will be your pal. I'm Swipzz the streamer, I'm doing my own thing. But if you are going to take it too far, you're out, you're gone. Off one or two situations and scenarios, maybe, how that works with me. But yeah, I'm fun but fair.
Actually, whilst I remember, I don't know if I've asked you this. Where did the name Swipzz come from?
People have been asking me this the past couple of weeks. And you know what the best part is? That's just like the name.
You just like the name? Where did you see it somewhere, or did you?
Nope. So my OG name, okay, so my OG streamer name before Swipzz was Lazy Boy Gaming.
Right, okay.
I think I've still got like the banner or something around to where it's fucking terrible. It is terrible. But that's kind of where I started. Like, that's what I actually started as. I don't even know if the channel even exists anymore. Yeah. But that's kind of where I originated from. And then, I just sat there one day and I was like, I like Swipzz. So I did it. That's it. There's nothing behind it, mate. There's legit nothing behind it. It's mad. It's mad. People ask me and I'm like, I'm a simple bloke. I just like Swipzz. So I do it. And then I did TV on it, and I don't like TV, so I took TV off it now. So I switched TV on some platforms because it won't let me bloody change it. And then, God, no, I'm not starting on that rant. I'm not starting on that.
So let's talk a little bit about for the time that I've known you. You streamed consistently and regularly, but you also worked a full-time job.
Yeah.
I've told the story a lot about me losing my job, and you supported me a lot when I first started going full time. And then one day I'm streaming, and you jump into the stream and say, "I've just lost my job." And at the time I was like, he's winding me up here. He's having me on. He's pulling the leg. But yeah, it was real. You lost your job, and decided to give streaming a go full time. I know you would kind of done it for a month or so previously and pushed it for a month, but what was that decision process from? I know nothing's set in stone for you right now, but in terms of when you lost that job, going, I'm gonna give content creation a go full time, and I'm gonna give streaming a go full time. Like, what was that? What made you go, this is what I want to do full time? Yeah, it is a big leap.
Yeah. So I think what it is for me is how this year's been. Obviously, with the old lady passing and stuff like that, it's made me realise a lot of stuff. I've been holding back in the sense of kind of me in general, kind of doing what I want to do. Yeah. The way that I kind of works as a process at the moment is go out, grind, earn money for my fiance and a little, and and kind of just keep going, do the streams and stuff like that. Because I was doing so much. And obviously the streams were doing pretty decent, but they weren't doing like quit your job kind of money.
Yeah.
They were doing well, so I knew that as a fact. I was already established within the community. It already kind of made sense, if you get me, of to do it. But I thought, it's a passion. I genuinely enjoy it. I was doing it as a hobby. I did hope one day that it could turn into a job. So I was like, I got to the point where it was like, effort. I've had the worst time I've ever had in my life. This 2024 sucks, by the way. It's going to stay that way. It doesn't matter how well I do on TikTok this year. It still sucks in my eyes personally. But 2024 was terrible for me. And I was like, I'm not going to stick the year being absolutely miserable. Let's chase a dream. If the dream works, amazing. Brilliant. I get to do what I want. I get to drop my kid off once or twice a week at school. And I love doing them little things like that because I'm doing this. There's little things behind it that I get to do and I genuinely enjoy. So I thought, you know what? I'll full send it. See what happens. The worst case scenario is it doesn't happen. I'm not daft. I have savings. I have backup plans. I have stuff like that. So, a lot of people told me I'm bloody stupid. And I get it. They're just being, some of it might just be malicious and being nasty, but some people are just being genuinely concerned, which I appreciate. I appreciate regardless. If it was a thank you or you're being stupid side of things. I get it.
I think people. No, I might be wrong here, but this is my opinion. When I had a very similar thing when I said, I've lost my job, but I'm not gonna look for a new one. I'm gonna do this full time. And in fairness, from the outside looking at it, with the numbers I had, and I've talked about this a lot. I'm not going to do it again here, but I'm in a very privileged position in terms of why I get to do this full time for a set period of time without having to worry too much. Right? Very, very privileged. Much more fortunate and privileged position than you've been in, and you taken the leap. But I think when people come to you and say you're an idiot, or you're a grown man playing video games, or whatever, any kind of put down to you trying to do this full time, and I think you're absolutely right, it is chasing a dream. I don't think that most people think that is accessible for them. I think most people think that doing a job that you love, doing something that you love every day and getting paid for it, I think most people think that's not for them, it's for other people.
Yeah.
Especially if your background is like a working class background, if that's your kind of history, that you think your purpose in life is to get up in the morning, go to a job, stick at that job for as long as you possibly can, earn your money, and try and put enough away that you can retire at 65 and then do the things that you enjoy. You basically spend the middle 40 years of your life,
some of the best years of your life.
Yeah, the
basically.
40 years between whatever it is, between 20 and 60, making someone else money or doing enough to get by. And I think that's the reason that most people shit on other people who are saying, I am putting myself out there, I'm putting myself in a vulnerable position, which you've done much more significantly than I did. Put yourself in a vulnerable position and say, I'm going to chase this thing, and it might work and it might not, and I'm happy with either outcome. That most people think that is not for people like us, and that's why I don't think you should be doing it.
Yeah, it's kind of an insight of their kind of view of, right, well, that is crazy, that is ridiculous, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Whereas, like I said, on our side, it's kind of, try it. I don't, to be honest, I don't mind working for somebody again. I don't mind that. Like I said, if this doesn't work, I'm cool with that. I am. But working for myself, anybody in the right mind would rather work for themselves.
Yeah.
Than work for somebody else. Yeah, working for somebody else gives you the stability, well, some stability, depending on the company. I worked in an internal HR function. I know exactly how HR works. It's not all hunky-dory. Believe me, it's not. So it all kind of depends on the person, like you said. And I to be honest, the messages that people were putting, I was like, you just feed it my algorithm, so
yeah,
keep it up. I was like, people don't really say much on the internet that affects me. There was one person that said something cruel to me the other day, really mean, and he got it straight back. So don't be mean to me. Don't be mean to me. I'm not going to be mean to you unless you're mean to me.
Yeah.
And I will get petty and personal. I will go into your profile. I'll go into your bio. I'll look at your content and then go back at you. I don't like doing that, but I will do that. I am petty enough. So yeah, it's kind of one person's got me this year. One person, and he did not reply. He did not reply after that. But yeah, so it's. I don't really mind it because it's just I take it in the sense of, once again, it's constructive criticism because people don't understand that insight and don't understand, how that works. For me, I'm just content earning at the moment for the next 3 to 6 months. I'd be content if I'm doing this. I'm just covering my bills. I'd be content with that. And then after that, I'd be like, right, well, I do want to do a bit more because I need to save. I need to this. I want to branch out. I want to start giving shit away to my community because that's what I want to do. I want to be in a position where I'm like, oh shit, I've just done like this much this week. I only need this much. Put some in savings, put some in this, and let's give this back out and say thank you.
Yeah.
So I would like to be in that position where I'm giving some stuff away. And I'm not talking like a £20 gift card. I'm talking like PlayStation 5s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like giving stuff out to, really say thank you.
Yeah. What's been the most, since you've gone full time? What's been the most challenging thing for you that maybe you didn't expect to be challenging? Has there been anything where you've gone, oh, this bit is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, and I didn't expect it?
I think for me at the moment, I wouldn't even say consistency because that's not what it is. The problem that I've had at the moment is doing too much. Like you said, like what you've done, you've dropped it down. I was streaming from 9 till 5.
Yeah.
Going, eating tea, sorting a little in out, then going back on until 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
I was doing too much. I burnt myself out straight away within 2 weeks. I was getting ill. I was hating streaming. I was doing too much. I think that would kind of be the only thing that I didn't expect myself to do it. I ended up doing it because I felt stressed and I needed to earn as much money as I could. Feeling frustration from that kind of really put me in a position where I was like, fuck this. I'll just go and get a job next week. I'm killing myself. I'm killing myself for content. And then, people are, I'm coming off for a couple of hours and having a bit of a break. And then people are messaging me, when are you back on? I'm like, are you mad? Are you mad? I've just done a 9-hour stream, come off to go and eat some dinner with my family. And then I get a message again asking, when are you coming back? No. So I still get the messages now. And I've clearly just stated it. For me at the moment, what's working for me is 12 till 3.
Yeah.
Monday to Friday. And then I'm doing 8 until 10 or 8 until 12 on the night. Depends how I feel. If I was on at like 10 last night and people were asking me to stay on and play more. And I was like, no, I'm shattered. I'm not doing it. I'm really not doing it. It's not beneficial for me. It's not going to be beneficial for them the next day when I'm miserable and exhausted. Yeah. No, I'm just not. When it's time for me to kind of clock out, I'm done. People don't realise that trying to be entertaining for 1, 2, 3 hours, trying to be engaging, trying to be entertaining, trying to be funny, trying to be relatable, trying to kind of push you as a person out there, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. People don't understand it, really don't, and it is. You hop on and sit there and talk for 4 hours straight and try and be funny and trying to be witty and trying to just kind of keep your audience engaged and kind of interacting. It's not easy. Yeah. It's not easy.
Yeah, it definitely takes
fun.
That out of you.
It's fun, but it's not easy.
If you can hear sirens in the background, apologies, everyone. I should have mentioned Swipzz is based in Manchester. And that's
Did you hear that?
That's the reason you can hear sirens in the background.
Because I live near a main road, okay, and the windows are open in the master bedroom. Wow.
Come at me in the comments if you're from Manchester.
He's from Birmingham. It's all right. It's all right. From Birmingham.
Oh dear. So what's next on the agenda for you then? I know you're kind of settling into a decent process now, settling into a bit of a routine, but what's the next? You talked about the next goal being 50,000 followers. What are you pushing towards outside of followers? What are your kind of key things that you're trying to achieve over the next couple of months?
So I would be, I'm not even going to say content, I would be happy with looking at more brands and sponsors and stuff like that. So that's kind of, you know this, we spoke a little bit behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where I want to get. I want to kind of get a bit more established with the following.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, some of the videos are a little bit more funnier, kind of a bit more me now. So a bit more as me as a brand. So kind of building up me as a person, as a personality, as a brand. I want to build that more up so then I can show more kind of, brands in general. Right, well, I'm me, I'm Ander. This is what I kind of do. Mm-hmm. Sponsor me. I want to pay the bills. So sponsor me. So I'm kind of, what I'm going to be looking at in the future is kind of more sponsors and affiliations.
Yeah.
But it's with brands. It's just not any Tom, Dick, and Harry. It's something that I know, I trust. I know if, let's say, you as a viewer bought this keyboard I've got right here, this keyboard, that it's not shit. I'm not pushing out shite to my community. It is a genuine good product. It's a genuine good brand. When I get the chance, I am going to get in front of these the mad guys and say to them, listen, sort me out with some sort of brand deal or something because I love your product. It's super entertaining. I've already had a few of my community members go over and buy it.
Yeah.
Let's kind of work together. So, it's stuff like that where I want to be looking at in the future because, yes, I do love live streaming. Yes, I do love all that kind of stuff. I want to keep doing that, and it does make money. But I'd rather not rely on the community as much if I don't have to.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier that you started doing some, like, consulting, essentially, with people who are just starting out on streaming and offering people advice and reviewing people's content and their stream setup and that kind of thing. How did that come about? Like, what was the thinking behind that?
That was, you know what? I'm actually going to give him a shout out on that. That was Will's idea.
Yeah.
You know it. I've gone through so much with you, kind of like as of that, and I'm not a professional. I am not a professional, but I do know my shit. I've been doing this long enough to know what can work and what doesn't, and what kind of makes sense with TikTok at the moment. Shit changes all the time. We trial, we test it, we go through it. But I like speaking to people. I love it. I love that kind of thing, and I love kind of showing that insight as well. So I did one for a gent the other day. I call him Welsh here, but he's called Welsh Trojan on TikTok. So yeah, I am promoting in here. So, but he's a good guy. He's a good guy, Welsh lad. He used to do Facebook.
Yeah.
And then Facebook died kind of in that sense. Came over to TikTok and didn't know really what he was doing. He had 1K followers. So yeah, I kind of met him. Had a conversation with him. And I said, listen, if you... It was on a stream as well. I said, listen, if you really want an insight into what I do, this is, it's not a course. It's not any sort of weird scammy thing like that. It is, I'm going to break your channel down. I'm going to see what you do in the live streams. I'm going to see what's wrong, what's right, what could be better. And I'm not going to be an asshole about it. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to look at your content and see what you're doing, what's wrong, what's right, what can be done better. Yeah. And it's about an hour call, and we go through everything. So you can ask me a bunch of questions what you don't know. Because you're paying for my time, but you're also paying for knowledge and insight as well. So it's kind of explaining all of that to them and really giving that insight. He was so bloody happy by the end of it. There was so much he did not know. There was so much that he needed to implement. And not in a bad sense. There's, it's always good sometimes to kind of get an overview from somebody else of you. You do it all the time. You might go, oh, Randy, you've missed this out, or you've missed this, or you could do this better. And I appreciate it. I love doing that.
I mean, that's what our morning calls essentially consist of. Oh, hey, man, I tried this thing yesterday and it really worked. And you should give that a go. You saying that to me saying that to you. Or, I've just implemented this thing on my live stream. I've taken this out. I've put this on. This is working now. This is not. We basically have those conversations each morning about what works. And there's no hard and fast rules, are there? I mean, sometimes, and I've had this conversation with you, and I think there's an element of competitiveness there. It's like part of me is like, I tried the thing that you're doing and it's not working for me. And I'm like, well, it's not working for me, so I need to move on and try other things. There are some things that work for you, some things that work for me. Yeah. And then there's some things that just, that are universal, like these are the foundations that you need to get right when you're streaming on TikTok or streaming on any platform. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to how you can swap those insights and like help each other out. And but yeah, there's definitely a lot of, you only learn it by doing it, right? You only learn it by having those conversations and trying stuff.
even the lad that I kind of give the one-to-one with the other day, I've been nipping into his streams and still keeping it because I like him anyway. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's got more consistent numbers now. He's got a higher viewership. His videos are doing a lot better. He's kind of putting his face and his personality in a little bit more. He's not perfect. He's not perfect. He's just started doing it, but there's more consistency there, and that's kind of from the first week. I've told him this is not going to happen in day one. It's not a life-changing result that I've just given you. It's going to take a couple of months. Take your bloody time and really go with it. He's loving it. He's absolutely loving it. So he's it's that kind of stuff there. And I know for a fact that, yes, I did charge him to do that because it's not free. It doesn't, fresh air doesn't pay the bills, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, yes, I do charge for that. But what you get out of it in value makes such a big difference. And it's made quite a bit of a big difference for him already. He's probably only made the money back within a week of what I've charged for that.
I think it's a funny thing. I think especially as creatives and people who create online, that we always feel the need to justify why people are paying us to do stuff, right? And I just want to point out that we've developed a friendship over the past couple of months, and these conversations that we have on a morning basis, is I like to think it's a 50-50 split of going, let's just catch up. We're both doing this full time. It could be quite a solitary career if you haven't got people to talk to, and we give each other advice, but the value we offer to each other is kind of an exchange that we have as friends. But if there are people out there who want to take your time and they want to use your time that you could otherwise be you would otherwise be using that time to earn money in other ways, by streaming, by creating content, whatever that might be. So much of what we do gets put out for free. So nobody has to pay us for anything, right? I always think of it like this. You can go and look at my TikTok. You can go and look at my YouTube. You can be in my live streams. You can watch all of that, take all of that, and not spend a penny ever. But if you want to support me, if you want to, not support me, it's not like you're not a patron. If you want to think that content has been of value to me and this is the value that I assign to it, then this is the money. Or if you want to take up an hour of my time, or if you want to do this or that or the other, whatever that is, there is a cost to that because my time has an inherent value. My skill set has an inherent value. So I just want to point out, you don't need to justify charging someone for an hour of your time when you're helping them do that. And no streamer, content creator should have to justify being paid by a brand, being paid by their community, being paid by anyone, because there are so many skills to this job behind the scenes that people don't see. That you as a one-man band, the amount of things that you have to learn to do, figure out how to do, is just phenomenal. And there's always going to be people that you will say, here's some advice that you can get for free if you want to go into more depth and get very specific to you. Because I think that's what you're doing, right? Is you're going
very specific.
This is not generic advice. This is for you specifically. This is analysis of what you're doing. Of course, that has value, and of course you should charge for that. And if people don't want to pay for that, they can go onto your TikTok and they can see your free content about this is how.
Yeah, that's it. There is free content there that you can take that, but that's not a one-on-one basis. It's a completely different story. That is just general content and general videos there for everybody that wants to kind of know this, that, and the other. Yeah. Whereas that is, I literally went into his bio. I went and looked at all of his videos. There was videos that were muted because he had music in them. Yeah. So I was like, don't be doing that anymore. There was all sorts of specific things that he wasn't. I wouldn't say he was doing wrong, but he wasn't doing the right way that TikTok likes. For him to kind of really kind of flourish in the space that he was in, and kind of get out to the audience that he's looking towards as well. Yeah. So it was stuff like that. But yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't have to explain myself. I don't have to justify myself. I do tell people, if you want to book in for that, you are paying for my time. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for my time, and you're paying for my knowledge. That is what you're paying for. I'm you know me. I'm very kind of straightforward. Slightly stubborn with it. I'll just be straightforward. There's no point saying, oh, well, you can pay a little bit less because it is. No, pay that. I don't. It's my time and my expertise. I'm going to go away. I'm going to look at you. I'm going to evaluate you. I'm not going to just go, right, well, you need to do this, and copy and paste what I've just done from the last person. Yeah.
Nice. Well, listen, man, I appreciate your time. Thank you for taking an hour out. I won't be paying you for this time. Just as a note, so don't be sending any invoices to me.
Invoice.
I no, I really appreciate you, man. And like I said, you were one of the you were one of the first people, but one of a core group of people that really went above and beyond when I lost my job to help me. And you had there was absolutely no benefit to you whatsoever. There was no and I didn't have to ask. You just were like, hey, we're having a call tomorrow, and you just really set me up. And I think as we've both grown and learned, it's become more of a reciprocal thing where it's like we're offering each other advice. But yeah, thank you so much for doing that. And I know you do it with lots of people as well, and give lots of advice to lots of people. I appreciate your time today, and we'll do this again in a year's time. And you can probably pay me then, because you'll be right at the top of the trade. You'll be up in the stratosphere with the some kind of northern sidemen or something. I don't know. Maybe.
No, I'll be begging in battles on TikTok. Don't worry about it.
Right, I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much, and let's do this again soon.